Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of FCB LB Celeste podcast. Uh, Today we're going to talk about a couple of things. Big victory by Barca over Shakhtar in the Champions League Wednesday. And then, of course, we have coming up the Clasico on Saturday, a huge La Liga matchup. So let's get started with the big victory in the Champions League by Barca um, on Wednesday against Shakhtar. Now, a huge performance by Fermin Lopez. He had a fantastic game. Of course, he scored a goal. He was everywhere. He hit the post a couple of times. He was running around, chasing balls, disrupting the midfield, and he was very aggressive in attacking mode. You know, he was in the penalty box, looking for the ball, looking to score. I like the fact that he is aggressive. He's so young. He's a midfielder, but he's an attacking midfielder. Unlike Gavi and Pedri, he seems to have a hunger for goals. He hunger for the ball inside the penalty box. So this is good news. He's certainly not a finished product yet. It'll take some time. He's very young, but he is very aggressive, hungry, looks for the ball, looks for goals. He's not shy away from the box. He does not try to. He's not passive. He doesn't pass the ball back, which is good. And of course, that goal. Oh my God, what a rocket he hit! I think it was clocked at like 240 miles or kilometers per hour. That ball that he hit went into the net. The goalkeeper really could do nothing. And overall, Fermin Lopez. I mean, if you recall, beginning of the season, he wasn't even in the picture, right? In that preseason Clasico, came in as a substitute and he gave a wonderful performance, and of course, uh, a fantastic goal, similar to the one he scored last night, but that was against Courtois in the preseason. But overall, in the Champions League this season, he played 3 matches, scored 1 goal. In La Liga, he has played 5 matches, scored 1 goal. And so these are pretty good numbers, right? And of course, sometimes goals don't tell the whole story. He continues to improve. He continues to impress Xavi, and of course, we are extremely short-handed with all these injuries. So his presence, his quality of play has become really important in the absence of Frankie, Pedri, and some of the other injuries we have, such as Rafinha and so on. So, really impressive performance by Fermin Lopez. I thought overall in on Wednesday's game, Barca played well in the first half. We got the 2 goals, and then the start of the second half, we kind of we've seen this before. We start the second half slowly, kind of lazy plays, lazy passes. We're not running around as much for some reason, and then we lose control of the match a little bit, and then the other team gets confidence. They start to counterattack or possess the ball more, and then they put us on pressure. So we have to be careful not to lose our focus, put in a full 90-minute performance. It was, I wouldn't say it was a great performance, but it was okay. And but you know what? Well, all the injuries that Xavi had, Pedri wasn't there, Lewandowski wasn't there, Rafinha wasn't there, Frankie De Jong wasn't there, Roberto wasn't there. Gabi couldn't play because he got a red card in the previous match. So um, Xavi didn't really have much option, and we were extremely short-handed. So all I'm going to say is, hey, you know what? Win is a win. Take the win, and we move. We got 3 points and 9 points in the group stage of the Champions League, top of the group. We can taste the knockout stage. So if we can, in the next 3 matches or so, we can get one victory and we wrap up the group stage and finish first. Uh, I think then Xabi can rest a few players. But we'll see what happens. You don't take anything lightly. We definitely want to get to the knockout stage of the Champions League. And of course, um, we've got the Clasico coming up on Saturday. A very important matchup between Real Madrid and Barca. Barca is 1 point behind Real Madrid. Of course, we're in third place, but behind 1 point. So it's a huge, huge La Liga match for both teams. Actually, if Madrid wins, they can They can go 4 points ahead of us. If we win, we can jump them and we can get in front of them by 2 points, and maybe on the driver's seat as our players start to come back. I will give my prediction in the next podcast right before the Clasico, but I want to go through some of the matchups, some of the keys that I saw actually on the Champions League match that might we have to kind of address uh, fairly quickly with the Clasico coming up. So one of the challenges, one of the problems that I keep seeing with the Barca is on the defensive half of the field is in the fullback positions. It's not so much the fullbacks themselves, but it's a tactical dilemma that Xabi faces. So when how many times have you seen when João Cancelo goes forward? He's in attacking mode. He has the ball. He goes forward to the other end of the pitch, trying to pass, trying to make a progressive pass, or he himself dribbling to the box and trying to score. Well, the fullback, and as he goes forward and leaves the spaces behind him, who is covering that space? Right now, it's nobody. Nobody's covering that space in those fullback positions as our fullbacks go forward. So as a result, what's happening is on counterattacks, let's say we lose possession of the ball on counterattacks, the other team has a tons of space on the flanks, and they are exploiting that. And last night wasn't any different when we Shakhtar scored that goal. It was a um, huge amount of space on the left flank for their left flank and our right side. The player dribbled the ball down the flank, and of course he crossed the ball to uh, to to another player, but and Romeo made a bad defensive play to get back. So what's happening is it's a tactical assignment. Who is assigned to cover the space behind the fullbacks as they leave the space and go forward? Who is it? Romeo who is supposed to cover it? Is it Gundogan? Is it Arojo? Is it Christensen? Is it Gabi? I mean, somebody has to track back and cover that space, right? If there's a counterattack, and that's not happening. So as a result, often we're getting caught on counterattacks with tons of space for the other team to exploit and cross. So and where the danger comes in is for the Clasico is Madrid has Vinny and Rodrigo. Vinny on the left side, Rodrigo on the right side most of the time. Two very fast, very high quality wingers, right? Nobody's going to deny that. And if you give them that level of that kind of space on the wings, and if our fullbacks go forward, then that's suicide, right? So Xabi has to tactically figure out how to address this, when to go forward. I don't necessarily think that João Cancelo needs to go forward all the time, and he seems to go forward all the time. He doesn't, um, and he can't be at both ends of the pitch, right? I'm not really blaming him, but he has to pick his spot to go forward or to stay behind. He can't be always in an attacking mode, and sometimes he's getting caught um, on the other side end of the pitch. But somebody has to cover for him when he does that. So as long as that tactically those things are worked out by Xabi with other players or other midfielders, then we're fine. But if we haven't figured it out yet, then it spells trouble for us in the Clasica, because I'm sure Madrid is studying the video and looking at the flaws and the weaknesses we have. And this is a problem. This hasn't been just last 1 or 2 games. It's been pretty much the problem whole season. Um, Last season it didn't happen because if you recall, it was Baldi who was going forward all the time, and then we had Kunde, Arojo, and Christensen. Basically, we had a three-back system when Baldi would go forward. So we had always three defenders at the back, and Kunde, of course, would go forward occasionally, but he would most of the time he would stay behind to make sure he solidified the back line. So this is a problem that I see that needs to be fixed, and hopefully, in this gets fixed sooner than later. Now, the other thing is, of course, Bellingham. How are we gonna control Bellingham? I mean, he drops deep in the midfield. He collects the ball. He dribbles. He passes. Very good player. He also runs into the box. So as Vinny and Rodrigo goes wide, they cross the ball. and often Bellingham finds himself with the ball as the ball gets bounces around or gets deflected with some other player, and it somehow lands to him. He knows how to position himself. So we have to be very careful not to give Bellingham an inch. We have to stick with him if necessary, foul him if necessary, not in the box, of course, but be physical with him. Don't let him get comfortable so that he feels like he can walk into the penalty box and score or dribble or do whatever he wants. So those are some of the things I wanted to talk about. Of course, the Clasico is on Saturday night, and it's going to be an exciting match. I will have the podcast on Friday to go over additional um, ca- uh, tactics and so on. So stay tuned until the next podcast. Talk to you later. Bye.